Okay, guys, so as promised, I will go over the chapter 10 with you. That way you all have this to review as well. Chapter 10 of Milady Barbering is the properties and disorders of the hair and scalp. So we will go through that together, and that way you all have this to refer with your studies and your guides that Mr. Short is going to give you. So chapter 10, properties and disorders of the hair and scalp, starts on page 247. Yesterday you all watched a video that was posted in your group me. So today you all were assigned a assignment on labeling the structure of the hair. All of that information is gonna come from 248, okay? So, chapter starts in 248, and I'm just gonna go over this with you all as I have in class, and then that way you all have it to review. Make sure that you know and you understand. Page 248, the first paragraph, hair is an appendage of the skin in the form of a slender, thread-like outgrowth of the skin and scalp. It's composed chiefly of a fibrous protein called keratin, which is present in all horny growths such as nails, claws, and hoofs. Full-grown human hair is divided into two parts. Human hair is divided into how many parts? Two parts, the hair root and the hair shaft. The hair root is the portion of the hair enclosed within the follicle beneath the skin surface. The hair shaft is the portion of hair we see extending above the skin surface, okay? Next, you're going to need to know what a hair follicle is. A hair follicle is the tube-like depression or pocket in the skin or scalp that contains the hair root, okay? Moving on to page 249, the hair bulb is a club-shaped structure that forms the lower part of the hair root and is the lowest part of the hair strand. What is the lowest part of the hair strand? The hair bulb. Okay, the lower part of the hair bulb is hollow and it fits over and covers the dermal. Okay, the dermal papilla is a small cone-shaped elevation at the base of the hair follicle that fits into the hair bulb. The dermal papilla contains the blood and nerve supply that provides the nutrients needed for hair growth, because some people refer to the dermal papilla as the mother of the hair. So it feeds it, right? It takes care of it. It makes sure that it gets everything that you need. Next sentence right after the dermal papilla is this right here. Let me go ahead and show you. I have it right there. Make sure you all can see that, okay? Make sure you highlight that. The sebaceous glands consist of small sac-like structures with ducts that are attached to each follicle. Okay, sebaceous glands consist of small sac-like structures with ducts that are attached to each follicle. Make sure you know that. They secrete an oily substance called sebum that lubricates the skin. Okay, factors that affect this: diet, blood circulation, emotional disturbances, endocrine glands, medication. Okay. Next, erector pili is a minute involuntary muscle fiber in the skin attached to the base of the hair follicle, okay? Moving on, you're going to go to page 2, at the end of 249, we're going to start the structures of the hair shaft. But hold on, before we go to the hair shaft, make sure that you know the structures of the hair root. The main structures of the hair root are the follicle, the bulb, the dermal papilla, the sebaceous glands, and the erector pili muscle, okay? Follicle, bulb, dermal, sebaceous, and erector, okay? And that is the first sentence underneath structures of hair root, okay? So make sure you know what the hair root structures are. Those are them. Moving on to the structures of the hair shaft. The three main layers of the hair shaft are the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. The hair cuticle is the outermost layer of the skin. Think of like your cuticles. It's the outermost layer that you see, right? Okay. consists of an overlapping layer of transparent scale-like cells that look like shingles on a roof. And you can look on page 249, figure 10-2, will show you how it kind of looks like scaly, almost like snake skin, or like how shingles, like when you look at someone's roof or anything, how it kind of laps over. That's what it's like. Okay. Okay, the cuticle layer provides a barrier that protects the inner structure of the hair as it lies tightly against the cortex. Okay. The cortex is the middle layer of the hair. What is the middle layer? The cortex, all right? 90% of the total weight of hair comes from the cortex, all right? The medulla is the innermost layer of the hair and is composed of round cells. So when you think medulla, you think the innermost, right? I always will tell people, remember the movie The Water Boy, where he's like, oh, your medulla, I'm gonna got it, the innermost, right? Your brain, your medulla. So the innermost layer of the hair and skin, of the hair is composed of round scales. So medulla, innermost. Cortex, your core, right? Your middle section, right there. All right, moving on. You're gonna go to the bottom of page 250, keratinization. Hair is composed of protein that grows from cells that originate within the hair follicle. This is where the hair shaft begins. When these living cells form, they begin a journey upward through the follicle where they mature through a process called keratinization, okay? Make sure that you circle or highlight the word mature with keratinization, okay? Human hair is approximately 90% protein. Protein is made up of chemicals called amino acids. The essential elements in the human hair are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, okay? Make sure you can kind of remember those. I'm not saying that you've got to know everything, but make sure that you have your common knowledge of that, of what hair and what the essential elements of hair are, okay? So, on page 251, you're going to see the cons elements, which are the carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur of what the hair is made up of, okay? It's going to go into the different kinds of bonds now. So, protein bonds are long chains of amino acids. These amino acids are joined end to end in a definite order by chemical bonds known as peptide bonds or end bonds, okay? A long chain of amino acids linked by peptide bonds is called polypeptide chain. And proteins are long coiled complex polypeptides made of amino acids. The spiral shape of a coiled protein is called a helix. And that's where, when you think of the spiral shape, some of you may have heard of a helix cut. It's a curly cut. It's a curly shape, okay? Which is created when the polypeptide chains intertwine with each other, okay? Within the hair cortex, a more complex structure is formed when millions of polypeptide chains are cross-linked by side bonds. And they form a ladder-like structure, okay? Side bonds are 3 types: hydrogen, salt, and disulfide. That's what makes up the strength and the elasticity of the hair, okay? And then you can, mess around with those during blow drying, wet setting, styling, just different things. So all of that information, though, is going to be on page 251, and then you can see the diagrams, how they explain the bonds right there, okay? Now then, 252, 253. You can see my book marked State Board, okay? Here it is, pay attention, okay? This is important information here, okay? We're on page 252, okay, chapter 10. A hydrogen bond is a weak, physical, cross-linked side bond that is easily broken by water or heat. Hydrogen bonds are broken when hair gets wet, which allows the hair to be